Hello, everyone. We are back, and we are happy to have you. And hopefully, we are going to go on with this lovely conversation that we started in the last few weeks. Tonight, I have a very special guest from Colombia, UK. And I will invite her straight away to tell us a little bit about herself, because you have seen already me and Carla. But I will invite Angela. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you want us to know? And what brings you here?
Okay, hello. Thank you very much for the opportunity to join you ladies into this live. Well, as some of you may know, my name is Angela. I am Colombian, and right now I'm living in the UK. And I have more than 25 years of experience in educational settings and educational environment. I started as a teacher, and then I became a mentor, a trainer of trainers. And I spent pretty much most of my life teaching, right? And working with teachers and in schools, basically private and public schools. Right now, I am working as a coach in R.A.C.E, and I focus on transformational education and transformational leadership. Basically, that's what I do at the moment.
That's really good. We are definitely going to ask you more about transformational leadership and transformational education coaching, and more of what you think R.A.C.E is for you, and what values it can bring. Before that, let me also welcome Carla, who is always here and helping me like a little angel. So Carla, welcome.
Hello, happy to be here again. I love this. It's the highlight of my week.
And Carla, do you also want to tell us something about your backgrounds? A little bit, because you have many interesting things, and we are definitely going to have you on board as well as a guest very soon, but just a little bit of a taster, something interesting.
Yeah, I worked for a long time as a special education teacher. I started off in the UK in primary education, and then I went overseas to work in Qatar, and I worked with secondary school boys in a sports academy there, helping them with all sorts of different learning challenges, and mainly around reading and writing, literacy, and I think just general good behavior, teaching them how to behave nicely in school and how to get the best out of the amazing opportunity that they had in their schools over there. And then I left. I left mainly because of health reasons. I think I just found it really difficult to keep up with teaching as I got older. I know I'm not old, but it felt like it was just too much for me. And there were other things that I wanted to do. So I started a podcast to help teachers and parents with their well-being and balancing well-being with making sure that kids get the best out of their education. And that's what I've been working on for the last 5 months, at least, seriously, and also doing a bit of work coaching other podcasters. I've been doing that for almost a year now. So it's just a new journey and involves lots of creative things and new things that I'm quite excited about.
Great, fantastic. There are many people welcoming this conversation, and hello everyone, it's good to have you here. Welcome and welcome back. And I'm going to ask Angela about transformational leadership, and feel free to use the chat box and ask away. What is it that you want to know, and what is it you want us to ask Angela about? So what is transformational leadership for you, Angela? And how do you see the connection between transformational leadership and R.A.C.E?
Okay, so for me, transformational leadership is basically a kind of leadership that focus more on vision, that focus more on conversations, that focus more on allowing the people that you're working with to change and to see things in a different way. And is different from the normal leadership, which is transactional leadership, that focuses more on the power and making people do things because you have the power or because you are the boss. In the transformational leadership, we are all at the same level. And the idea is that we interact with each other, we learn from each other, and most importantly, leaders, the one who is leading the company or leading the organization is the person who needs to learn the most, about himself or herself, learn the most about their coworkers and their colleagues as well, and learn about the emotions that we all bring into the organization, into their workplace. Basically, that's the difference between transformational leadership and the normal leadership that is called transactional leadership.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So where do you see the connection between race and transformational leadership?
In my opinion, when we have been working in schools that are so standardized and schools that are focusing on doing everything the same way as we have been doing since the Industrial Revolution, basically, which is more or less the same way that factories taught their workers. We need to transform that education. We need to provide more conversations that allow teachers and allow stakeholders understand why they're choosing that school, why their students are having trouble or problem with certain topics or certain ideas inside the school. So in my case, I focus more on why do teachers need to change the way of they teach. Why teachers need sometimes to have a different kind of support nowadays than the support that they used to have before. And to do that, we need a leader in school. So that leader needs to be a transformational leader, a leader that sees beyond the outcomes, a leader that sees beyond tasks, and see more about the emotions of the teachers, see more about the whole vision and the ethos of the school, and focuses more on teachers feeling well-being, basically, on being well and feeling happy where they're working. And because if the teachers are feeling well, if the teachers are feeling supported, that's going to have a direct impact in the way students learn as well. If I'm a happy teacher, if I feel supported and I feel listened to, then I'm going to have better classes. I'm going to plan my classes in a different way, and therefore students are going to be learning also in a different way and in a better way.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that. I especially liked, I think, the learning parts, how much you emphasize that the transformational leader has to be a great learner, a learner about him or herself, a learner about all the others, and a learner about emotions and many other things happening around. That's really great. And that's something for me was a very nice reminder. So thank you for that. And Carla, are there some questions coming in from the audience that we can ask Angela?
Yeah, we've got a question from Martin. It says, can a transactional leader become a transformational leader? And if so, how?
Yes. I love this kind of questions because for many years there have been these theories about and these questions about, are leaders born or made? And I think that there is a combination of everything. Most importantly, I think that leaders can learn to first of all, to understand what are the strengths, to understand what makes them unique, understand how to manage their emotions, and in that respect, as as they learn about themselves, they can also learn to see these kind of things in others. So I do believe that transactional leaders can become transformational leaders as long as they learn and as long as they are able to be aware and mindful about their surroundings and about everything that that they are feeling as well and the way they see things. That's the most important thing. Yes, absolutely.
Great. Carla, do you want to bring up anything else from the chat box?
Yeah, Jamila makes a nice point. She says, we cannot continue with the same education approach at school if we want transformed future leaders.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And I think that that's one of the core things about R.A.C.E as well, because here in R.A.C.E, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make people aware that there are so many tools and resources exactly to transform the education and to help educators, right? Especially in this time where we have had all these crazy things happening, and sometimes we have seen that teachers don't have this space or don't have the support to actually make changes. So imagine if you're in a school and you know, or you intuitively or something, that you have to make some changes into your classes, or that you have to make some changes in the way that you are, providing for students, and your leader is not aware that these changes have to be made. How can you as a teacher sometimes make those decisions? It's difficult. So as long as there is a leader that is willing to make changes, as long as there is a leader who is taking into account what all the other stakeholders are talking about, as long as we're having and providing conversations from the heart, and conversations that bring purpose to the school and purpose to that teaching, things can actually start moving forward to the kind of education that we all want to have as a community.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask Carla if we have something more coming from the audience.
Yeah, we've got a couple of great questions here. The first one from Jacob says, how can leaders deal with the pressure they get from stakeholders?
That's a very good question, Jacob. And I think that the most important part here is, first of all, to be aware that they are under pressure and aware that that pressure is causing this stress. And in my opinion, the best thing to do is to get a coach. If you have a coach as a leader and you are able to talk to the coach about all the the situation that you are surrounded by, you are going to be able to find the ways that you as a leader need to move away from that pressure or to manage that stress, because there is not a magic formula. Everyone is a different, it's a different universe. So if you can find a good coach for you, and you can actually be, and you're actually able to find the right conversation and find the right way to move forward, then you will do it. Otherwise, you can just have, the normal things that anybody would do to manage stress, which is being mindful, doing a little bit of meditation, journal, for example, those kind of things that you can do as an individual and not necessarily as a leader. But in my opinion, the best way is to find yourself a coach, find yourself someone who can guide you through a nice conversation and nice questions towards the best way for you to manage the stakeholder situation. That's my view.
And we have another question from Martin. Says, what might prompt a transactional leader to look into becoming a transformational leader? What's in it for them?
I think that something that transactional leaders can gain from moving from transactional to transformational is the fact that they are going to start having more meaningful relationships with everyone they work for. Because transactional leaders, in general, they work and they lead from a point or from a view of power, which not necessarily brings a lot of relationship and nice conversations. People sometimes are just working for a reward, or just trying to avoid a punishment, to put it in those words. So if you move from a place of power into a place of community, there are going to be more meaningful and powerful conversations, meaningful and power relationships, and then you're going to, at the end of the day, you're going to have more followers that are going to follow you, because you're giving them purpose instead of just giving them an order or something to do. And at the end of the day, if you are feeling appreciated, if you're feeling seen and heard, in a way, you're gonna work better, and you're going to communicate, and you're going to have a better relationship with others. So I would say that that's one of the outcomes of moving from transactional to transformational leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I answered the question, Martin.
Let's see. Let's invite Martin to comment back. If not, and Angela, it really was interesting when you said, and we are having very nice comments. You know, I can see them popping up on the screen from Karen and Martin, Jamila, and yes, there is something from Martin as well that says work in progress. When you said purpose. So when you said that the transformational leader gives people a purpose, and that's why it has more followers than transactional leaders. So I'm just curious, and I'm inviting everybody else, you know, to be curious. What is it that creates the need to have this purpose? You know, we live in a world where if you are a follower, you can, you know, follow. There are so many people to follow, so many ideas to follow, you know, and many more are coming up. You know, if I think of the influencers, you know, very popular among teenagers, or if I think of all the celebrities, you know, popular among other types of people, there are so many people to follow and so many ideas to follow. So even without a purpose, you know, we can just like kind of go with the flow and go with the crowd. So what would create that necessity to have a purpose?
I think that especially in the educational setting, a purpose makes a difference. Having a purpose makes a difference in the sense of that you need a motivation. When you have a purpose, you have a motivation. You have, and this is my romantic side speaking, but you have something that lights your heart up. And then when you are, you know, when you feel passionate about something, when you feel motivated about something, your job is going to be better. And at the end of the day, we're working with children. So imagine if you don't see your teacher, right, smiling or doing things with love, because it doesn't have to be a purpose, like a very big purpose, like changing the whole world, but just to bring, you know, a very small and tiny, how can I explain it? I don't know, smile to the children, for example, when you're teaching. That could be someone's purpose, and that purpose, it's going to be very different to the purpose that somebody or another teacher has, which is probably create a student that is very strong in math or very strong in another subject, and make them believe in themselves. So to create purpose on, you know, in people as a leader is pretty much to motivate them to do their work or their job with passion and from the heart, which is going to have a different outcome if you're just doing something because you have to or because you need to. But when you choose to do something, right, I think that that's the connection with purpose, or with your why. Why are you teaching? Why are you teaching math and not English? Why are you teaching in this school and not in another school? Why are you even teaching? Why are you even applying for a leadership role in your school? Why? Is it because you like it? Is it because you know, maybe you're going to have a better salary? I don't know. There are so many different purposes and so many different motivations, but at the end of the day, whatever that makes your heart lighten, it's going to reflect in everything and everyone that you have contact with.
That's so true. That's so true. If I think of leaders, and I also invite Carla to share this, and everybody in the audience, if I think back of those people who inspire me, they're really people who have a very clear understanding of why are they doing what they are doing. And they are very compassionate, emotionally intelligent, kind, caring, lots of values as well. I don't have many examples to name, but those that I can think of, they have it already, and they are open to experiences like coaching to nurture it further.
Yeah.
But, you know, I haven't seen many examples, and I'm curious to hear from all of you, where they are a very transactional type, except when, you know, I see those who get into coaching and then they are transforming. But those who are very transactional, it takes a little bit longer to get there to that self-awareness when they start asking those questions you mentioned, Angela. Carla, what are your experiences about
Definitely.
this?
Yeah, my work in education, I definitely can second what Angela said there, especially on the point about happy teachers. I think this is really overlooked, the connection between purpose and happiness, and the fact that happiness is very important. I think we value it very much in children, and we say, you know, children should be happy, and no one would ever argue that they shouldn't be happy. But when people become adults, it's almost as if happiness is something that we can have if necessary, but everything else must come before that. And I think this is a big mistake. And I saw this in education with a lot of the teachers. When you work in academic support, you deal with a lot of the children who are not doing so well in the mainstream or in the classroom environment. And so they're given these alternative provisions. And I ran out of the number of times that I saw children come to me and ask me what was wrong with their teachers. Why is my teacher so angry? Why is my teacher unhappy all the time? And the first few times it happened, I thought, oh, that's interesting. But then as the years went on and I saw how prevalent it was, I understood why there were so many children in academic support. And I used to joke about it at first, and I would say, well, if all the teachers were happy and positive, I would never have a job because the children wouldn't come to me. You know, there would be no such thing as academic support. But after a while, it really started to have an impact on how I approached the way that I dealt with not only the students that came to me, but I started to reach out to help colleagues more, because I understood that the solution wasn't to send every student that was struggling to academic support, because then that's just silly, isn't it? The solution needed to also involve helping teachers. And I know we had a couple of comments about supporting teachers and how important that is. But what Angela just said then really reminded me of the importance of that. And also one of the reasons why I decided to start the podcast as well, and why that became my purpose, because I understood that there was only so much energy that I could put into working with students. And one day I would become tired, especially students who need academic support, because it requires a lot of energy. And I was thinking, well, when I leave this, how can I still help? And I thought, well, I have to help teachers, because if I help teachers, I will by default help lots of students. But the focus is definitely on, for me, my purpose is to help teachers to have more of that sense of purpose and to have more happiness in what they do, so that when they interact with students of all ages, not just young children, that they can transfer that happiness into their teaching and therefore help the children to have a sense of purpose. And I think it's really important.
True. I would like to share my experience with the leadership thing, and this is a bit of a secret, but many years ago, I was offered a role of a leader, right, in school. And I was, because of the environment I was working at and the whole thing, I was more of a transactional leader than a transformational leader. I didn't know how to lead my team. So obviously I failed miserably, to the point that clearly my team just didn't respond. And I have to say that you are not a leader, and you will never be a leader if you don't have followers. And the only way to have followers is to listen to the people, to the people's needs, to the people you're working with. Because sometimes you just need to adapt. If you are the leader, you should have the capacity to adapt to different contexts. It's not the same to be a leader of a multinational company, I don't know, that is focused on sales and finances, than being the leader of an organizational educational setting, like school. It's different. You need completely different skills, and you need completely different focus. So this is one of the reasons why I started learning about leadership and learning about what was the reason why I failed as a leader. And yes, I had some sort of skills, but I didn't have some others, and those others were more important to communicate with my team than the ones that I had previously. So that's the other thing. The transformational leaders have the capacity to adapt different leadership styles to different contexts, because it's not necessarily that if you are very good in one context, you moved to another role and you're going to succeed as well. It's not necessarily the case. You need to adapt. So wanted to share that with you guys as well.
Nice. Carla, are there any questions maybe coming up? I saw something from Renu.
Yeah, we have one from Renu who says, do you think with transformational coaching can help leadership to motivate teachers and other staff to be able to create a better understanding and promote well-being within the system?
I do. I honestly believe that transformational leadership is very linked to well-being. If I create a culture of well-being as a leader, my teachers are going to be motivated as well to work on themselves, and there are going to be things that are not going to be negotiable. I mean, and well-being shouldn't be negotiable in any setting, especially in schools. Again, like Carla said, if the students are seeing a teacher that is not happy, a teacher that is frowning all the time, a teacher that is exhausted, they're going to think that, first of all, that maybe the teacher doesn't like that school, or maybe that the teacher is not feeling well, and probably that the teacher doesn't even like them. And some students really need that connection with the teacher, because we have no idea what's going on in the student's house. The same way that sometimes nobody knows what you're going through in your house or in your personal life. So if your transformational leader is actually listening, is actually aware of your emotional journey, then that leader is going to promote by example a well-being culture in the whole organization, whether it's a school or whether it's a company or anywhere else. So yes, I do believe that a transformational leader can actually motivate the teachers towards well-being.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this question from Jamila as well. It says, supporting teachers is key. How do you think we create this awareness and curiosity that coaching is a solution to supportive transformation?
I think that the best way of doing it, and the first step, is this, what we're doing right now, to actually bring forward conversations where we are being honest and we are telling people the things that we have gone through, our experience, so people can relate, and people then can start feeling curious and can start feeling that there is this lack of information about something, in this case coaching, and then they can just come and start finding out what coaching is about. Who are these people? Why she failed in a leadership role, and how can I just not fail in mine, because I'm feeling that I'm not communicating with my team. Bringing these conversations out to the public, talking to people, whether you're a coach, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a leader, and just to ask anything, find information. These kind of things are right now the only things that we can do to bring awareness to all these resources that we have, in schools. Basically, that's what I can say.
And we also have this question from Martin. Says, do transactional leaders need more examples of the benefits to the students, staff, and themselves of moving to transformational leadership?
I think so. I know it's difficult precisely because if they are transactional leaders, they're going to be in a position of power, and when ego comes, and they normally don't like people telling them that maybe this way is better. But in a way, if as a school, for example, or all stakeholders start bringing things in slowly, and then the leaders start seeing there is a change, they might get curious about, okay, why are we doing better? Why is this teacher doing better? when this teacher wasn't, exactly communicating better with their students? Why are the feedbacks on this teacher better? So if you as a teacher know a little bit about coaching, if you as a teacher know a little bit about all these tools and resources out there, bring them into school, bring them into your life, bring them into your classroom, and start slowly but surely, showing or demonstrating that these resources are helpful. And at some point, find the space to have a conversation with your leader and have a conversation that, saying that this is what I'm doing and it's working. And I would like you to come and observe my class, or I would like to come and, have a conversation with me at some other time, for example. Just be open, say things, and don't be afraid of trying something new, especially. Growth mindset.
Yes. So these are the closing words for tonight. Be open and don't be afraid, and invite conversations that raise awareness around the challenges you are having, around the successes you are having, the strengths you are having. And with that, I would like to say thank you so much, Jacob, Jamila, Karen, Martin, Mirna, Rinu. Really appreciate having you here. And it was wonderful comments coming from you, really great ideas, and so much wisdom out there. And thank you very much, Carla, as always, for being here. And the biggest thank you, Angela. Thank you for bringing this idea of transformational leadership, generating these ideas and a very meaningful conversation here. Really appreciate it. And there are many, many more comments coming up, so I'm sure you triggered so many things out there in the audience. And let's keep the conversation going, and let's make it happen. Let's bring more awareness to education. And as you said, we start with conversations like this. So thank you, everyone, and see you next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.